Hello, hello, guys. This is Anya, your host of Zionist AF. So we are in Jerusalem today. We are at Stay In, like come stay. It's like an inn. Stay in Jerusalem, right on King George Street, right across from, I guess it's like kitty corner to Ben Yehuda Street. And I am joined. Now, I'm going to have just your first name, but we'll talk about your company in a second. But we're in the wine bar. And there's some beautiful Israeli wines that you actually were admiring behind you.
It's great. It's good stuff.
We're not promoting any particular wine company over another, just saying, because there are lots of amazing wineries. And we were just talking about that in the north, how many amazing wineries, and like my friends in Sipori and stuff like that. But if I'm telling people, like, you need to come to Israel, you need to learn about Israel. If I'm, sure, I come and do my work here, but you kind of professionally have a way better idea of how to tell people. So why don't you introduce yourself to our audience? And
hello, everyone. My name is Yair, and since October 7th, I was combating on the battlefield against terrorists and bad guys. And since I got out a few months ago, 5 months ago or so, I went back to what I've been doing for the last 6 years, which is bringing people to Israel, bringing tourists to Israel, and combating misinformation, if you want to, so to speak.
Fake news.
Fake news, exactly. So it's a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you so much. And I've been following you for some time, both on the professional front because of what I'm doing, but a lot of the hasbara that you have been doing has been great because I know that people are trying to figure this out right now because, sometimes we have guests that have heavy, how you call accents. And you have no accent in English because you actually have been able to straddle both worlds. So we don't have to do the cultural interpretation and presentation because you were born in Israel, but lived in the U.S. and lived in Israel. And so you are a native English speaker as well. So this is why it's so easy to understand him. But that also makes sense because a lot of the people you are having, that you're bringing, you're speaking to them in English.
Absolutely. I would say 99% of the tourists that we bring every year, even before the war, have been from Anglo-speaking countries, whether it's the U.S., Canada, England, South Africa, even New Zealand, Australia. Cool. So that's the majority of countries that, send tourists through us at least. But we also have some French and some Spanish.
Sure.
And we'd love to have more.
And look, English is currently the international language. It used to be French. Yeah. I'm going to date myself right now and say that when I was in school, we studied French because it was the international language. Mm-hmm. But again, it was in an American school. So my skills are probably not all that good, but so, it makes sense. A lot of people do speak English, even if they're not from an English-speaking country. You may have to learn Chinese at some point because I'm pretty sure China's going to take over the world.
We tried that. Yeah. It's going to take off 5 years.
Little earpieces and just do that. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. But one of the things I think I want to share with people and have you kind of, help, like you said, some of the just fake news and the misinformation. But one of the things about Israel that we literally experienced today before we decided to, be able to start filming our podcast was I brought you here to the Stay In and we had an impromptu gathering, or not I wouldn't want to call it a meeting. It wasn't an official meeting, but then it was you and
Alone.
One of the owners, Alone. No, I know his name. I was just trying to figure out how to say it. Alone, I know who you are. Love you guys at Stay In, but it's actually Stay Hospitality Group. And what you did learn today, which I was yes, I got to tell another Israeli something they didn't know. It's a big deal for me. Let me have it,
Joy.
There are actually currently 3 properties, but almost soon, hopefully a 4th when the permits all come through. So you guys got to talk about, maybe that would, all work together, but only in Israel. And we were talking about how I was up north in Sipori visiting someone I have known for several years at his winery. And he's like, wait, let me call my friend. And then his friend couldn't come right at that second, but he says, listen, he wants you to come tomorrow or whatever it was. And I was like, I can't always get up to Sipori because it's in the north. And currently, if you don't know where you're going in the north. Some days it says Beirut.
Yeah.
But
So
you know
watch
what?
out.
Maybe if the monsters would bahatz the fucking cha and just, like stop. Like it's getting old.
Right,
It's really
right.
getting old. I get it. We're amazing. You can't be us, so you have to destroy us. But listen, because I'm sure all of Hamas is listening to me right now. I mean,
For
clearly.
sure. They have reception down there in
I'm
the
sure.
tunnels.
Of course. Bahatz the fucking cha. I'm not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Israel's not going anywhere. You have never and will never defeat us. So,
Amen.
just seriously.
Just give up. But I will say,
Yeah.
I think that that's the beauty of us as Israelis.
And I'm like,
that
listen.
We always believe in not being the victim. And believe me, we have every excuse in the world to be a victim.
We could bitch and bitch
we
and
can.
bitch.
We've always been subject to persecution.
No.
We've always been hated. I don't know why, despite everything. So we definitely have the right to be victims.
Yeah.
And we never stoop down to that level.
No.
We always said, you know what? They want to kill us. We're going to celebrate. We're going to build. We're going to, look at this beautiful country. We're going to innovate. And that's the beauty. But it's also Israelis. The mentality of Israelis is
God.
You meet up, you build connections, genuine connections.
Stronger and
you
stronger
try to
together.
Build something great and build bridges rather than building or destroying bridges, as we know with some of our terrorists around us. So I think that's what gives me hope, and I'm sure gives us all hope, that we know that we will win, that we know that we will prevail even in these dark times.
And I just have to say, I'm on bonus time right now because I was supposed to fly back to the States on the 2nd. But Delta is a big bunch of babies who lies to their customers. At least United was honest. Like, they're like, we out for the month.
Right.
Delta's like, oh, no. And I'm telling you, and I'm putting this out there for everyone because what they did was wrong, and I'm calling them out. I even reminded them, I'm like, I am a journalist. Like, you think I'm going to be quiet about this? No, I'm not. Shame on you. Because I know, because there's people that work for Delta that I know who were like, oh no, they reassigned all those people that were on the JFK to Tel Aviv leg, or the Tel Aviv to Miami leg, or the Tel Aviv to whatever. And I was like, oh really? Because this is what Delta's telling my parents. And my mom is literally having a meltdown because, Mom, I love you, but like, it's fine. Hakol beseder. So thank you, Delta, for being a big bunch of lying babies. Though El Al really, really, really not nice how much tickets are. But my mother is insistent. Game, I guess. Yeah, she's insistent, so I am flying home on the 12th. So I got 10 extra.
So you got 10 extra days here?
9, but yeah, pretty much.
Great. Well,
and
that's
okay, guess what? Because we got to meet, we couldn't meet before. We both had some conflicts. I'm here in this amazing hotel in this wine bar with like this reclaimed wood bar.
Love it.
All the Israeli wine behind us. We're talking about all the great stuff going on. So, Isabella, you think you're scaring us away? No, actually, you're helping. Thank you. It's like when, people like to speak nonsense and like, oh, you, and they say horrible things oh, I'm a dirty Jew and I'm going to die in the street. And I used to have this one guy that would tell me my blood would run in the streets on the daily. But then he told me that I and Israel are like his.
Yeah.
And but wait, can I tell you this? So I wrote back to him at that point and I was like, wait, you want to kill me and my blood's going to run in the street? Or I'm like, and you're obsessed with me. Tell everyone I'm bigger and powerful, more powerful than I actually am. And you can't keep your hands off me. Like, which one is it?
Right.
To
me, I think.
Thank you for letting me live in your headspace.
It used to, you know what it used to be? It used to be that people were like a little bit ashamed to say that they're anti-Zionist, aka Jewish. But now it's like, I don't know what did it. After October 7th, I guess they see Jewish blood and they get excited. And they decided, you know what? Yeah, we're just going to.
Dead babies get you off.
What people are saying is just like.
It's so bizarre. You're like, what?
I don't know if it's a bunch of bots from Indonesia. I don't know if it's a bunch of.
You see people screaming and yelling it in the United States.
Yeah, it might be some woke, sad people that really have no meaning in life and they're living in their mom's basement and they just like,
they can't spell.
And they can't spell and they feel, I don't know what. But in reality, I'm happy that the majority, despite all the noise that these haters do, the majority are with humanity. They're with the Jewish people and they believe in peace. They believe in coexistence. They believe in caring about one another. And they are against these terrorists that are exactly against all that. But it's sad to see that some of them still get somewhat a stage, and we
Yeah.
need to combat that.
Well, George Soros has a lot of money that he throws at these people. And I mean, they're getting all the same Amazon tents and they're shouting
Yeah.
the same rhyming things. Well, so you're a father, but we're not going to like necessarily, if you want to share stuff about your family, that's fine. But as a father, you can read children's books, right?
Yeah.
And children's books are usually like, they're lower levels so the kids can understand. And a lot of them rhyme. Dr. Seuss rhymes. Why does it rhyme? Because it's easy to remember.
Exactly.
Okay. So all their little chants rhyme. I mean,
Yeah.
hello? Like, has no one else realized this? The only things they shout rhyme?
It's classic communist indoctrination.
But it's like,
where
you have to dumb it down.
You have to dumb it down, but there's also they only know the chants. Once you have a conversation, they run away,
river?
they escape.
What
Forget
river?
the river. They
What
have
sea?
no idea what's happening here. You know what's interesting? I thought about something. Tell me this. I have yet to meet someone who hates Jews and actually knows facts. Because usually there's a correlation between those that hate Jews and hate Israel and those that hate facts and hate history. And I've never met someone who says something against me and Israel and has actually been here. And that's the crazy thing. That it's always those that have no idea what's happening here. They hate us. And that's why I always suggest, by the way, I've always loved traveling and especially coming here. But what traveling does, it actually opens your mind to other cultures. I don't think that
they're on big
right? They don't care. They don't want to open their mind.
No,
they want to be in their little bubble of hatred
do.
and anti-Semitism. But if you want to actually care about other people, then you travel, you see other cultures, you see other countries, other foods, and you probably tend to love more than hate. That's why what we encourage is to come to Israel. And we've been doing that since the 7th of October, despite the war, bringing thousands of tourists to Israel. I think we're up to like over 3,000 since October 7th. And the majority of them came to Israel because they actually wanted to see what's happening here. They wanted to
they want to make an impact. And whether it's, supporting the economy by buying from 100%. Israeli businesses or volunteering and helping the businesses who have some of their employees on Miluim, which is reserve duty, or just, volunteering stuff for soldiers. I mean, there's so many volunteer opportunities. And last night I met with the Iron Swords organization that helps organize a lot of these volunteer opportunities. And she's going to be coming on the podcast before I leave. And she's amazing. She's an American who literally dropped everything and came after October 7th.
You know what's crazy? People like you and her and others that since October 7th, they just said, I don't care. We now, as human beings, we can't stay silent. We have to voice our opinion. We have to do something. And I can't tell you, there's literally thousands of people that since October 7th have been doing this. And it's all out of their own spirit, as opposed to what all the haters say, the Zionists are paying you for. That's all a bunch of BS.
I'm a single mom who's pretty I use a lot of everything that I had made doing my actual business and spent to do this because I feel literally compelled.
That's incredible. And I think that we all feel that. But
seriously, if there's just this random money floating around, you can throw it my way. I'm totally okay with that.
Please do.
To the Zionist entity that's paying for all of this. Seriously, by the way, I don't know if if there's someone who thinks that that's true, please let me know where to find this imaginary money.
We also control the weather, which is great.
Yoter midai cham.
If we would control the weather, I think we would tone it down a bit. It is freaking hot and humid, so I don't know.
So on the podcast recently, my friend Georgie, who is a rapper, Georgie, what up? That he always says that, what up? Not me. I'm not. No.
I'm not gonna even attempt.
No, I don't know. It's but he goes, if it would just snow here, there'd be no war.
Exactly. Exactly. You know why? Because we're good. When missiles are flying over our heads, we know how to live. But when there's a flake of snow, shut down. All of Israel closes.
So you're
California.
You're like, what?
You don't know. It's crazy. Israelis are really bad. Not only snow, also rain. Rain, they're we're staying home.
It rains here. It's not just rain. Because we were talking about this on the podcast. Because when I was here, it was a year and a half ago in December. It was raining this way. It was also bouncing up from the ground, and it was kind of sort of smacking you from both sides.
It's like Israelis.
Oh yeah, it was just you're just pushing. It's oh my God, trying to get out of the train station in Jerusalem, in the elevator. It's But at the same point, there's a lot of love. Now listen, I know that at times Yair and I are talking over each other. It's not rude. It's passion. Okay. And I think that's a huge misconception. And as someone who kind of like lives in both worlds, you can help me explain this because I really do try to help people understand that there's so many like misunderstandings. And part of it is like you said, you're like, travel the world. Like, in Asian countries, you would never have that because there's like the distance. Israelis are okay with being like in closer proximity to each other, but so are other cultures in the Middle East. There's just so many things that people kind of sort of don't understand, and they're like, oh, but they're so loud. I'm like, yeah, because like the loudest person's voice is, but everyone is listening to each other. I mean, we were sitting around a round table, four of us earlier, and we were talking over each other, but it wasn't like
a lot of respect. That's the beauty of Israel.
Because you get excited and you're like, yes, oh yes, but did you know? And then you're like, oh, I know this person. Do you know this? And then it was like, ah.
Think of it as a family. When you're at the family dinner, okay, you don't care about mannerism. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah.
But you really care about the other person, and therefore you're able to fight with them. You're able to voice your opinion, and sometimes it's not so polite, but you still love them. And that's exactly what Israelis are like. It's like the cactus, the sabris, right? Yeah. They're prickly from outside, but sweet inside. That's what they really are.
So, and some people who really don't understand what the sabra fruit looks like, I sometimes say Israelis, you're kind of like a mango because, it's like tough skin on the outside. It's a bitch to get into.
Yeah.
But once you do, it's like the best thing you've ever had. Right? And then, hakol beseder. But the other thing is, I think that the beauty of Israel is like, look, do you like your family all the time? No. And do I think that everyone is just like literally handing out roses in the street here? No, I'm not delusional. But even if you had like a fight with someone in business, but they like tripped on the street and you saw it, it didn't matter how badly, like you could have ended a business together, you would be running to help that person. Yeah. And we talked about this, like in New York when I was assaulted on the street, nobody did a thing, no police, no nothing, no absolutely nothing. And I have like been here and someone like fell off a scooter and all of us jumped up, and it was funny because I was like, wait, I don't know how to ask them in Hebrew what they need. But I was like, I'm going to bring my friend's phone and my phone and go over there and be like, do I call Mada? Right. Like, how bad is it? And I still ran. But, of course I was like, well, I mean, chances are he probably would have understood, like, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Did you bump your head?
Israelis are genuine, authentic, yes. Which is what we need to be. Enough with the fakeness, enough with all the nonsense. Get right to point, See, and that's why we're good at business too. Because we don't beat around the bush. We're like, what do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
This is what we want. This is what you want. Let's make it together. And I think that's.
And also, you're not wasting people's time if you can't or it doesn't work.
Right.
Right. And it really is that way. But also, like, you could not know someone,
mm-hmm.
like go into their store or whatever, and like, are you thirsty? Do you need something? Right. Like, did you eat? I went I went to have my nails done because I had to. I'd been here so and I was somewhere in Tel Aviv, and it was just so cute because like you walk in, and I'm not saying that like you're not offered things sometimes right. in the US, but not to this degree. Like even if you said no thank you, like they're going to offer it again, like 2, maybe 3 times because they're going to give you that water yes. or that coffee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then it was like, do you want chocolate? I was like, want or need, but no, thank you. No, you want chocolate. I was like, no, I do want the chocolate, and I don't want to eat the chocolate because I already know in my head what I'm eating later.
Yeah.
And I plan my day around food when I'm here.
It's rough in Israel because how do you show and express love? Food is a great element. So
Jews and Italians.
Yeah.
There's one big problem between
Israeli food.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. So, but this. And when people do this in Israel, it's for my Italian American friends, and we talk about it's not a fangula. No, it's not that. It's like a minute. But when I first worked for the Israeli government, because in U.S., this, we're like this.
Right.
So I go to walk to my boss. I had to tell him something, and the secretary does this to me. And I'm like, and she's like, because she's on the phone.
Right.
She.
What is going on?
So I'm like, and then she went. And I'm standing like, and I'm like looking behind me, like, is there I don't know. I truly don't understand what's going on. She hangs up the phone. She goes, why did you do this to me? And I'm like, why did you do this to me? And she goes, 1 minute. I go, no, this is 1 minute. She goes, no, that's, and I go, no, sweetie, that's this.
Oh, God.
But you guys do this. And then I was like, what?
So you really got to know the cultures. That's why you got to travel.
Oh, well, yes.
Yes, because in every country,
But I was like, what was
if you go to Japan and you do what we're doing now, I mean, they would kick you out.
So here's the thing. Like, I always like to when something funny like that happens. Like, let's talk about it, right? So, but I did want to share something and talk about like misconceptions. So I was sitting this morning having breakfast at the hotel I'm staying at. I'm at the Brown Deborah. Hi, guys. And I had a conversation that kind of sort of like, it never really surprises me, but it sometimes surprises me. And I think a big misconception of people think like, first of all, like, I mean, let's just talk about the funny stuff. Like right back, you know, in Nazi Germany and Eastern Europe, like we weren't white enough.
Funny stuff, yeah.
Well, we weren't white enough, but now we're allegedly like a whitewashed country.
We weren't white enough for them,
but now we're too white, right? And then people don't know that Israel is the only country where you can be Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist,
in the Middle East,
Druze,
full
any of those things.
Equality.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, there are Israeli Arabs, there are Israeli Muslims, and they live here. And when you're here in Jerusalem, you can even hear the call for prayer.
Yeah.
So,
and if you have a genuine conversation with them, they're going to tell you they prefer to live in Israel rather than any other country in the Middle East. Because here we actually respect them. Here they could actually have dignity. They could actually have a good life. And yes, there's a lot that needs to be improved, but they would not want to move anywhere else.
No.
If they would already have done it.
Right.
So,
and they have full rights, and they can hold office, and they can choose to serve. They don't have to serve. They can choose to serve. And let me tell you why it actually, the one part of the conversation that surprised me, I think the person, because I really want to protect who they are, was a little nervous because he knows that I'm podcasting and a journalist and doing all this stuff. And like it took a few days for him to actually like smile and talk to me. I think he was just like trying to figure out who I was, because this is shocking, but I talk to everyone. That's how I met a lot of people. Yeah. But this morning he pointed at this, and then he said, and he went into his shirt and he took out his, wow. He's an Israeli Arab, guys.
But that's the thing, especially after October 7th. You have people like Nas, right? Nas Daily. That they were in a conflict between their Arab or Palestinian identity and their Israeli identity. But after October 7th, they realized that these Palestinian terrorists, aka Hamas,
UNRWA,
they don't care. Yeah. They don't care about anyone. No. Okay? They don't care if you're Muslim, if you're Christian, if you're Jewish, anyone. Exactly. And we realize that it's not just about a specific piece of land. It's about the entire land. It's about Jews, not only in Israel, around the world.
Oh, yeah. By the way, intifada is not intifada.
Yeah.
Those of you who are shouting it. I don't know what intifada is, because maybe they got confused between tostada and
sounds yummy, actually.
That's what I said. I was like, is it like a new Mexican dish? I don't know. But intifada
is actually real, and it's actually serious. And I have personally friends that were killed by Palestinian terrorists in what they call and chant and enjoy yelling in the streets, intifada. That's like coming out and saying we believe in genocide of Jews, just calling it intifada. But because some ignorance in the West don't understand what it means, they're like yelling intifada revolution, not understanding that they're calling for a genocide, and then they're blaming Jews.
Calling also for your own death, you dumb sacks of crap. And learn to spell. Like, if you're going to threaten me, sweetie, at least spell it right. I mean, it's not even hard. There's like freaking spell check on your phone. A little red squiggly.
You know what the craziest thing, and this I've never felt until like the last few months, is that I feel like I need to apologize that I'm white. I'm not white enough for Nazi Germany, but I'm too white, and I'm European colonist, colonialist. I mean, what's going on here? I've never needed to apologize for that, but now I do. And the funny thing is that
you're apologizing for your existence.
I have to apologize for my existence. I have to apologize for my race. I have to apologize for being, whatever I am. It's crazy.
Well,
and the truth is, you go walk here in the streets, and most of the people here aren't white.
No, but don't you feel like? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like we're a similar color here.
I'm getting a tan though, so that no one will blame me anymore. Yeah,
I worked really hard to get this. This was a lot of sun time.
Yeah.
I literally tell people all the time, I'm like, I am the palest person here. Like,
It's crazy. It's crazy. But it's always the same thing. It's people that don't know that they yell these things. And if they would come here, I've never met, at least me, I've never met anyone who came to Israel and continued hating Jews. I've never met. Maybe there are, but that's why I think.
You were like, damn it, your food is just too good and you're just too helpful and welcoming. I just can't take it.
And believe me, I have a lot of criticism towards Israelis and towards policies here. That's fine. That's why we live in a democracy.
I have a question. You can openly question and like publicly speak out against the government of Israel and not disappear?
Yeah.
Iran.
You know what's funny? All of these burning American flags, they are just they are Iranian puppets. They're the biggest fools you could ever imagine, because these people should be thanking America that they live in a democracy, that they live in a free country. Maybe they're too young and stupid to remember, but maybe their parents or their neighbors lived in unfree societies, or today live in unfree societies like in Iran or China or Russia. Believe me, you don't want to be there. You want to be embracing freedom and democracy, and you're just an idiot for burning American flags. But that's really, I'm happy, because that just shows you what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Anyone who hates Israel hates freedom, hates America, hates democracy, hates life. That's fine. And hates diversity. Like, those are just haters.
Which is so ironic. The people that are claiming to be like, from like these minimized groups are actually actively supporting terrorists that, by the way, Queers for Palestine, you want to know what they're going to throw you? It's a roof party. It's throw your ass off the roof. So my good friend Rachel, who's Mage_45 on Instagram, she has like one of the best, like, just, I'm sorry, that's it, I'm out lines.
Yeah.
She's like, there might be Queers for Palestine, they're gays for Israel. And I'm like, okay, you know what, Rachel? I'm gonna clap you out, because that was amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. So I said to her, I'm like, wait, so Israel has one of the largest gay pride parades in the world. And there are non-Jews like Daniel Ryan Spalding, who is a great advocate for Israel and not Jewish, talks about, and I do love how he talks about Israeli men sometimes, because he's so spot on, because you guys are the best. They are
pretty good looking, objectively. I'm straight, but objectively. Especially when the closer you are to the beach, right? Have you realized that?
Oh, sweetie, yes.
The better Israelis look. It's unbelievable.
But I even think that I look better here than I do it.
Yeah, Israel makes everyone look better. It's something about, I don't know,
but yes. And then also, if you're in areas like Tel Aviv in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Some of now, and I understand that some of them are not interested in females, but that's okay, because I can still look at them and they're all walking their dogs, and they're cute dogs and super hot guys. I'm sorry, but it's just
dogs also look better here. Dogs are. Really
I'm hoping my dogs will behave better when I move, because they're not the best listeners.
Not for sure.
Let me have this. Let me just hope against hope it's going to happen. But like you said, you have to come and you have to experience things to understand. But I mean, some of the things that do baffle me are, I'm going to go back to this idea, or like, Israel's committing genocide. Well, we must really suck at it, because like the Arab population has increased like monumentously. And then the other thing is, when people say these nonsensical things, and as someone who brings tour groups and literally shows people all of Israel, there are parts of Israel that Jews may not go. There are literally signs that say like, no Jews allowed.
Big red signs.
No Jews allowed in Israel.
You know what's crazy is like,
but there's no signs that say no Muslims allowed.
No, of course not, because we would never do that.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, this is the absurdity.
Yeah.
And also recently, my friend Donna, she took me into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Yeah.
I had never been there, and I appreciated it, because I'm not a Christian, I'm Jewish, but Jesus existed. I just, it's like Son of God, not Son of God. Just, whatever. And then we stopped with, the Torah, and they went on to make another book. And I said, we were too busy discussing. They were like, no, we're done discussing. We're going to write a second edition. I was like, okay, Hakol Beseder. But it's like the same values. So I really appreciated like looking through the beautiful architecture and the historical, and some of the amazing intricate work that they're doing to restore and stabilize, I would imagine, some of these walls. And it was also a really beautiful thing to see devoted Christians coming to Israel to literally, I almost lost my earring there, to be able to go to, I would imagine, to them, if not where he was baptized, the whole, like and I'm not like air quotes to diminish, but I don't know if it's the holiest place or like, I don't know what Christians would say, like which of the places, but one of the holiest for them, at this church. And it was really interesting, and it was really beautiful to see that.
The beauty is that in Israel, and especially being Zionist, which I don't know how people misappropriate.
Well, this is Zionist AF podcast.
Yes, so Zionism is actually about freedom for Jews living in their ancestral homeland, letting them have self-determination, but also letting others. And you know something? Christians here in Israel can actually do that. And Christians from around the world could come to their holiest sites here in Jerusalem or Bethlehem or up north in Nazareth and the Sea of Galilee. And because, especially those that are controlled by Israel, they actually have freedom and they actually can go and see them. And we respect those sites.
Do you remember
as opposed to anywhere else in the Middle East. Look what happened in Syria, what happened in Iraq, what happened to the Christians in Lebanon. I got friends in Lebanon that are running away.
My college professor was jailed in Lebanon and had to flee to the United States for writing pro-West and pieces being critical of the government he is a practicing Muslim, by the way. And he was my mentor teacher, one of the people I was closest to in college. But he was like, it's not okay. But he fled to the United States. He can never go back to Lebanon because of that. Like that's just it's like mind blowing to me. But on top of that, like there was that time where Israel was pressured to not be in control of Bethlehem.
Yeah.
And they did back off. And remember what happened? They went in. The terrorists went in. They desecrated these holy, historic, like archaeology professors and individuals were like, this is not up for debate. This existed at this time in history. Like, one of the lines from the river to the sea 2.0 is thank you, Hillel Fould, for putting the 2.0 on there. Mm-hmm. From the river to the sea, Israel has and always will be. From the river to the sea, confused, just ask those who study archaeology.
Nice.
Thanks. I'm pretty proud of that.
That's good.
But the thing is, like, you can go and date these things. Like, this is, as my son would say when he was 2, it's a true fact.
I'll tell you something. I lived, people don't know this because obviously they're ignorant, but those who do know, in 2005, we left the Gaza Strip, right? I lived in Gush Katif, which was a beautiful piece of land with the most pristine white.
It looks like every other beach lined part of Israel. Herzliya.
Yeah, it was incredible.
I don't say Tel Aviv because people think when I say, oh, it just looked like Tel Aviv, that they automatically think of the high-rise buildings along the beach. Now, that's Tel Aviv. But think of the beauty of the beach. So Herzliya, Netanya, Ashdod.
It was just a unique place. And I lived there for 2 months. And what's crazy is we left, that place was flourishing with
can check this from satellite photos
and beautiful communities.
Oh my God,
Israel left in 2005 for the chance of peace. A lot of people in Israel were against it. Now everyone realizes that it was a disaster. But the fact of the matter is Israel left these places, and they of course left the synagogues, and they left these fields and full for them to use so that they could have a better life. We wanted them to have the Singapore of the Middle East. And what was the first thing that they did? Besides for burn all the greenhouses that we left them,
here's a good idea.
What
Let me burn all of the
resources. So like you're burning your own economy. Like you could use this.
But it's Israel's fault.
But that's the mentality. And what they burnt all the synagogues. Mm-hmm. Now, in contrast, look at Israel. Look at Tel Aviv. There's a mosque. I don't know if you were by the Intercontinental, by the beach. There's a mosque. Mm-hmm. There's no Muslim community there. Yeah, but Israel wants to keep that mosque, and they even do whatever they need to renovate it and to keep it beautiful, because that's what we do. Yeah. We want all religions and all beliefs to live here in freedom, but the first thing they do is burn all the synagogues. So I don't understand. I can't even comprehend how someone could stand for that nonsense, for that hatred, for zero Jews allowed. They don't want Jews in Judea and Samaria, which is literally the Jewish homeland. Jews are from Judea. That's literally where it comes from. Jerusalem,
just can't.
Hebron,
really
Shiloh, like all these are in the Bible. Like, you know, and forget the Bible. You don't have to believe. You don't have to be you don't have to be religious or anything.
First, and then the Christians are
Look at we're talking about archaeology. Look at archaeology. Anywhere you step foot, there is artifacts, scrolls in Hebrew letters proving our existence here for thousands of years. So you can't deny facts.
Wait, I can't just like make up whatever I want and just scream it because it rhymes? That's what they all sound like.
Could.
That's true.
That was a good imitation. That was really
I just can't. I can't because I can't get over that soundbite. It's like this is never something I went and did because I'm like, I don't think that my brain can handle this amount of stupidity. Yeah. Like I might just like, I don't know, like internally explode or something. But they asked someone like, okay, so from what river? And she could not answer. But I swear you can't make this up. Okay, so from what sea? And she's like, a river is like an ocean.
You can't make it up.
You wanna? I don't even know how to.
There's no way to respond. But the hope that I have is that this ignorant is a minority. They just make a lot of noise, and like you said, they chant.
I'm really loud.
They chant,
I can make noise too.
They chant songs that rhyme, and when you repeat a lie once, okay, no one believes you. You repeat it twice. You repeat it 10 times, and whoever is not intelligent, doesn't know history, hasn't been here, will start believing these lies. And that's the danger, though.
Yeah.
That you have a whole nation of stupid wokes that know nothing and don't even attempt to learn or be a little bit intelligent. They just go with whatever their fascist leaders tell them.
100%.
And that's it. And they're blindfolded. And they just hate Jews because that's what they hear and that's what people tell them. And then they're like, no, we're not anti-Jewish. We're anti-Zionist. As if there's a difference. Like, as if there's a difference.
This group of people. I hate that group of people.
I don't hate the Jews. I just hate everything that Jewish people believe in. And our whole heritage is about Zion. And it's like, and Jews are from Judea. Like, it doesn't make sense. But you know what? That's the day and age we live in. Thankfully, the majority still believes in values of, first of all, they believe in the truth. Well, Forget values. Just
the truth shall set you free from your ignorance.
It's crazy.
But I do think there's another problem here. And I think that this is where like you and this podcast and many of our other friends really like daily, doing Hasbara for Israel is there a lot of this like misunderstanding. Part of it is like cultural. And, there are times where I say like, you know what? Israel shouldn't give a flying what America thinks. Right? I mean, and I think that there is like this idea in here, like, but honestly, why do you give a rat's patootie what another country thinks? Right? They're not here. Like, Americans have no idea. First of all, there are people that actually think like 9/11 didn't happen or it was a conspiracy or from within or all these things. And I'm like, or the woke ass losers who are like, oh, I identify with Osama bin Laden. Do you, sweetie? Could you find any country in the Middle East on the map? Like if I, a blank map of the world on a piece of paper, by the way, the world is round, but for purposes of a map, it's flat. Could you find Italy? It's a kick.
They aggressively want to be like nuance, and therefore they're trying to go to the most extreme that they can and justify all these ridiculous, radical, fundamental.
Like the more ridiculous, the easier it is to believe. I don't even know. But here's part of the problem. I do think, and this is many years of doing this, and working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as an American who is a public and media affairs officer. Like I wrote in English for them. I think we took for granted for so long. We just assumed people understood these crazy things like facts and, like artifacts from archaeology sites and just all these things that are just so clearly true and right in front of your face. I think we took for granted that people would, I don't know.
I'll tell you why.
Read. I don't know. Listen.
We're in the day and age of TikTok where people don't have time to read and learn facts. So they're not going to go and see the Dead Sea Scrolls that literally prove our existence here.
See those. That was cool.
That's incredible. Like, you can't deny the Jewish existence here in Judea and Samaria and all of Israel after seeing these things. Okay? You just can't. And King David walking literally here where we're sitting, okay, over 2,000 years ago, like, that happened. You can't deny these things. We have proof, whether it's religious proof, whether it's archaeology, whether it's history and
Well, we're not teaching history
tradition
anymore either. Like, we're not teaching
people,
what started World War I or World War II.
People see crying babies in Gaza, which is horrific.
The fake plastic babies.
Yeah, they see either fake plastic babies, or they see Syrian babies, or they actually see babies in Gaza, but they never see the IDF, and they blame Israel. Really, who's responsible for all this crap? Hamas. Really, who's responsible for all of this? Yeah, for all this. They don't care about their own people, and for them, dying babies is a strategy. For us, it's actually a tragedy, and that's a sad thing.
Yes,
that we actually care.
So here's the thing, right? Like, let's just really put this out there. The leaders of Hamas are they in Gaza with their people?
They're under. They ran away.
Are they? Where did they?
Oh, the leaders are in Qatar and Iran.
They're
and
not even
Turkey,
there.
Living a lavish life.
Oh, wait a minute.
They don't care.
Millions of dollars. Okay.
They never cared about their people, and they still don't care.
Let's go. One. That's one. Okay. Two. Right? Here's two. They know that the humanity of Israel is at all costs, even at the cost of losing soldiers, IDF soldiers. Well, hey, listen, guys. So you've been firing rockets from this building for like the last week and a half. And here's all the proof. Like, we have the video proof of you firing the rockets. So we do understand that some of you are civilians trapped here against your will. So I need you to get out, because we're going to destroy the building because you've been firing thousands of rockets from it. So if you are a civilian, we're going to do this at this time. I need you to leave. And it's not like, hey, I need you to leave in 15 seconds.
Right. And by the way, we don't do this because we want to get good press and good media. We don't care about that. Unfortunately, they're going to hate us anyway. We do this because we actually believe in human life. We believe in humanity. Let me tell you, I was now for over almost half a year in the military reserves, Miluim, and I was, an IDF soldier back in the past. And I could tell you, that's why it just kills me when I see all these young idiots writing certain comments about the IDF soldiers.
Or CBS Morning News saying ridiculous lies. Ridiculous lies.
Because I was there. I know for a fact the amount of effort and time that we spend and literally we sacrifice our own lives just to make sure that we don't hurt any civilians. And we do that because we care about humanity.
And do you always know who the civilian is? Of course. And so many times they're either hiding amongst or they're...
By the way, half the time the civilians are not really civilians.
Well, I know
let's be honest.
You
see, it says IDF killed a 16-year-old child. Yeah, that 16-year-old child had a machine gun. Do you think, does it matter what age someone wants to kill you?
No.
If someone wants to kill you with a machine gun,
you can't blame Israel that they've trained 5-year-olds and younger to scream for the blood of Jews, to say, I can't wait to grow up to be big enough to hold this gun properly, to kill as many Jews as possible. And I'm sorry, but we need to say this again. Some of the nasty terrorist monsters that came over UNRWA, seriously, the UN is such a sack of shit. And UNRWA, sack of shit terrorists. Fuckers. Anyway.
I'm happy you got that out.
But here's the thing. I'm not going to lie to people.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And there's freaking proof, because these a-holes videotaped themselves on GoPros, and they used the victims' phones to videotape what they did and sent them to the contact list and then put them on the web. The Nazis documented stuff, but this is a whole other level of sick.
They were
these are people that came over.
A little ashamed of what they did to a certain extent. Not that we're comparing, but
they came over after working for years for some of these kibbutzim in the fields and having good paying jobs here in Israel.
They don't care.
Israelis can't go into Gaza to work. Right. Well, we could back when it was still Israel, before we gave it away like morons.
2005, yeah.
But they came over, and those are the people who supplied those detailed
And what's ironic, that most of these people in the kibbutzim, I mean in most of Israel, but especially in the kibbutzim,
the ones who were really into believing in coexistence.
Wanted to live in coexistence and still believe that they could live in coexistence with the Palestinians, because honestly, we want that. I want that more than anything else. But when the other side doesn't want it, what am I going to do? Force it upon them? Live with us in coexistence.
I'm going to keep paying you a really good salary that you can't make over
they don't care about the salaries.
Please be nice to me. Stop killing me.
It's a sad reality that unfortunately many Israelis, but also many Jews and just human beings around the world realized that Palestinians, or the majority of Palestinians, don't want to live in peace with Jews or with anyone.
No.
And if we weren't here, believe me, they would just be killing each other.
Well, that's true, but also, if their wish is to destroy Israel and then to move to the West.
Right, that's stage number one.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. When
this is all openly
when you said to me,
documented.
Do we need to give a crap about what the world or what America says? It's not that we need to, but our values align with freedom and democracy.
And hey, look out.
Usually, those that hate America also hate Israel, and vice versa. And therefore, it's not. No, we're doing what is morally needs to be done. Correct. We do what's morally right, and we do what's just. And when an entity wants to destroy us and commit a genocide against the Jewish people, we don't really have much choice there, right? So we fight back. But we do believe that the majority of Americans do stand up for values of freedom, coexistence, peace, and they believe in the system that we have here in Israel, and therefore there is so much that we align with, and that's why America is one of our greatest allies because of that.
And not for nothing, some of the people in Congress who speak out the most in support of Israel are Elise Stefanik, not Jewish, and Brian Mast, not Jewish. Elise Stefanik is from New York, and Brian Mast is from Florida.
Yeah. I
wish I could vote for you guys. I don't live in either of your districts, but I really wish I could. But I say this all the time because I'm still registered to vote because I'm still only a U.S. citizen. My paperwork is on hold for the moment. It's just because it's not for another year when my son graduates that I will, make Aliyah. So I'm still, voting and everything in the U.S. And I am pleading with you, Jews of America, leave the Democratic Party because Kamala Harris. I feel like I'm gonna throw up every time I say her name. If dumb just existed in a body, it's her. But who did she pick from where? I don't know how much more clear this message could be. I mean, if Biden knew who he was or where he was, okay, not the point. The White House and everything about what the Democratic Party has been warped and become is telling you they don't care about you and they sure as shit don't care about Israel. You need to leave. I'm not saying go and become a Republican, but for the love of God, stop just blindly going along with the Democratic Party. So please.
I do think that without getting into American politics.
It's okay, I'll do it.
You feel free. I do think that both sides, the support to Israel should be bipartisan. And it's crazy that it isn't entirely, but it needs to. And that's always what it was, and that's what it should continue to be.
Because she went to a sorority. Because that's what she sounds like. Dear God, it's so scary, how dumb some people are. But yes, all of this balagan exists. Aval is my favorite word.
Yeah.
Favorite word in Hebrew. Close second, baul.
Baul, really?
Yeah, because you get to go, obviously.
I thought sababa.
Nope.
Was a fun.
No, sorry. No. I'm going to go a different path. I'm going to forge my own path.
Nice, go for it. Enjoy.
So, and I just think aval is so much more powerful than but, But anyway, aval. We're
focusing here on Israel.
All of the good stuff. So here's the thing.
We're going to focus on the good stuff because there's so much. There really is so much.
Here's the thing. This whole, all of our neighbors hate us thing didn't start yesterday.
Yeah.
And it didn't even start on October 7th, right? It's been decades and decades, right? Okay. Israel is oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. We're the only country in this region that's not rich with oil, but our economy is thriving.
And
There's some good stuff going on here.
I think that's what our neighboring Arab countries that are now in peace with us realized, because we didn't try.
Smart.
We obviously want to be in peace with all of our neighbors, but we didn't do it from weakness. And that's today a really important message, that if we want more Arab alliance, which, by the way, is growing and hopefully will continue to grow, it comes from strength. When Saudi Arabia sees that Israel doesn't mess around with, by the way, their enemies, which is the Houthim, which is the Iranian proxies, and they see that we can actually get in there and do what we need.
They're going to war soon too. So.
Then they want to align with Israel because they understand that Israel is actually there to protect them, and we could work together.
Right.
And when the UAE and Bahrain and all these other countries decided to do peace with Israel, they did it because they realized we're an economic power that we could actually benefit from each other. And I think that is the message.
Yes.
That we didn't do this from weakness. We did this from strength and from ingenuity and from innovation.
And grit and determination. Because again, like when you see pictures of Israel, before 1948, guys, there were Israelis here. Like just saying. Just saying. Like, so in some of the kibbutzim, like you see pictures from 42 or 30, whatever. And I know people that are like, oh yeah, 5th generation Jerusalem, or, you know, whatever the case may be. I love how like you could drive, and I'm sure people probably ask you this as you're like driving. Maybe let's pick driving south. Okay, let's say driving south from Jerusalem,
right? Which,
you know, is most likely on one of the bulletproof buses, and you're like, oh my god, I'm like, no, it's awesome.
Depends where. If you're going down through Hebron, then yes, but you could also go down through Beersheba.
I'm just saying, you know. And you're all of a sudden, it's like, especially when you're headed down to the Dead Sea in Eilat, and it's just like desert. Palm tree farm.
Right.
Oh, this all of a sudden it's green. But it's like desert around. I'm like, wait. And then you're like, how the heck is this possible? And
listen, there's documentation that Israel over 100 years ago was mostly desert. And it was deserted. And there was no one living here prior to your beliefs. There were a few Jews living in Sfat, Jews living in Jerusalem. But there was almost no one living here. And the Jews returned to their homeland after being in exile by the Romans back in 70 D, you know, and
that's who you should be
came back. Exactly. They also made up the name Palestine, by the way.
I know.
And we came back here to our homeland to rebuild it. And now just look at this. Look at these flourishing communities, flourishing cities. It's just beautiful. So really, you want to fight against that? You want to go back to the desert times? You really want that? I think we all agree that this is how we want to live.
Israel also has this amazing, very fascinating thing going on. It's the street cats.
Oh, the street cats, yeah.
Listen.
That's our squirrels.
Why would there be so many street cats if it wasn't a good place? These cats seem to, and by the way, they all look ridiculously healthy.
Yeah, they eat a lot.
I'm like, they look healthier than people's like home cats.
Yeah, it's
I'm just saying.
Interesting phenomenon.
I'm just saying. Yeah. And it never gets old for me. I'm just seeing them because, you know, these cats literally pop out of all sorts of places.
Oh, yeah.
And they're healthy and people are feeding them. And it's like, it's not even the people. Are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Also, Israel is so dog friendly. You can take your dog like anywhere.
Never thought we'd be talking about cats and dogs in this podcast. But,
well,
you know,
listen, you gotta be inclusive.
I mean, dogs are.
But it's just it's how you like literally. They're so concerned about life.
Yeah.
That they leave that there are bowls out in the streets, and some people like have a whole thing with their business name on it in the dog bowl of water. Yeah. Or one of my friends is like, oh yeah, Macy's already remembered. Like she learned the route, which places give her treats.
That's funny.
So she stops and she's like, you know.
See, we respect everyone. Jews, Muslims, Christians, Druze, Baha'i. Mm-hmm. And we also respect our animals, our cats and dogs, as opposed to Hamas that came into these kibbutzim. Forget it. Shot dog. I mean, like, come on. Okay, you want to shoot Jews, you know, we know you're, but dogs? What is wrong with you?
But the dismemberment.
Those are real monsters.
And that's what, on those maps, it was detailed which houses had dogs, I mean, right, like, you know, they say in the U.S., like, there's a special place in hell and in jail when, like, a child molester or an animal abuser, like, you're gonna learn what it's like.
Yeah.
So, you know, because it's like a whole other level of, like, what's wrong with you? But the thing is, again, the level of depravity and inhumane, heinous acts, again, not just rape, not just murder, but dismemberment. And by the way, I'm going to say this right now because I don't know if you saw this on the Israeli news this morning, but that moron who literally has that job as the White House spokesperson not because of her in here, but because of what she looks like and what she says her sexual orientation is, because, we gotta, listen, you dumb bee. How dare you? Well, if there's alleged rape allegations against the IDF, then you will be held accountable, and this is unacceptable. Bitch, where were you after October 7th when all those Israeli women were brave enough to come? What was that? Oh, what? Nothing. You know what? As a woman, if you allegedly are, seriously, shame on you. I don't know how you look at yourself in the mirror. I mean, I can't even look at you, but that's a whole other issue. Like, it's disgusting. I literally was screaming at my television this morning. I mean, I do often at home because
you don't break it.
No, I don't touch it. I just yell at it. I yell at
it.
Like when my computer's not working, I yell at it.
That's
very scary.
It's like when, especially in Israel, people not only in Israel, but all around the world, when they watch soccer, right? Soccer, right? Football, whatever you want to call it. So they start yelling, "Why you run faster? Do this, do that," as if that's going to help. Yeah, but it does help. It helps them. So it's good that you yell at the TV.
I also yell at the TV when I'm watching baseball.
But you know what? We got to a certain stage that it's just it's just so obvious, and that kind of gives me hope, because you realize how stupid it is when they burn American flags and when they're okay with rape just because it was rape against Jews.
But the best part is she'd be like one of the highest on their list to kill. Yeah. To throw off a roof. Insane. You stupid.
Insane. So what's our hope? What's our hope for the future?
Well, I'll tell you what the hope is. The hope is there's quite a bit. There's all the opportunities that you have for people when they come.
Yes.
Okay. There's amazingly warm people. And I was in the north during my time here. But you can't be in the north, Anya. I went.
Now's the time to go. All the lakes are empty, so it's great. You get the whole thing to yourself. The springs.
Thing I didn't do is I heard that there was some sort of bacterial thing that was in the Kinneret, so I didn't go. I was a little scared of the fact that I heard that there was, and that has nothing to do with Israel. Just this happens to bodies.
No, it has to do with the cows.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole system. Anyway,
so I didn't get to do that, but there are so many amazing things. And I am going to be giving blood later at the Mata Draw Station across the street, nice. And then. But one of my friends, Becky, hi Becky, she was like, "Well, aren't you worried because it's hot and everything else?" And I was like, "Oh no, because my favorite chocolate bakery type thing is right down the street. So I'm going to treat myself from giving blood with. I justified why I get to eat maybe 2 of the chocolate pastries. I'm just saying.
Right. Sounds right.
When I stay in Jerusalem, I often stay here at the Stay Inn because I really love it. And I mean, we were walking around and just the atmosphere and everyone cool. Here,
location,
so amazing. Welcoming and everything else. Sometimes I'll run a little farther. Yeah. Because then I'm like, maybe I could eat 2. But I will tell you, you can eat 2.
In Israel, you can. You don't gain weight in Israel, right? That's what someone told me. I don't know if that's true.
No, it's true. But I'll tell you why. Because there's not always if you left baked goods or any sort of breads out on the counter here, they'd go moldy.
Right.
Very quickly. Because there's not all these chemicals in them. Yeah. But in the U.S., you can have bread out on the shelf for 2 weeks. Yeah. Yes, it's a little scary. And I think because everything is so fresh and they're not, Israel is I know this is shocking, is a small country. It fits in the state of New Jersey. So they don't have to treat all the vegetables and fruits with all these things because they're not being shipped all over the place. Right. And Israel has a climate where a lot of these things that you maybe can't get in other parts of the country or the world can be grown. So it's
that's the
hours
you see behind me, that wine was, this was grown in the desert. And you have wineries here from the Galil, which is up north. And you have wineries from the Jerusalem mountains and from every region. It has its unique blend. And I think that's like Israelis, that we all come from different backgrounds, from different diverse, traditions. But we're all here. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all in it together. And I guess my message would be that, especially to those, we've been seeing so much support and we've been bringing, I think it's a few thousand people to Israel since October 7th, just to come, to see, to meet, to hug, to go down south, go up north, meet with soldiers and just, be here in times of despair. And you can. You can.
All you have to do is inquire. Yeah. And if you are not sure where to start, Yair's contact information will be attached. You guys always know how to get a hold of me. I went to Tel Shomer Hospital and visited with some of the wounded soldiers. And I was like, hey, can I just hang out with you? And I just wanted to talk to them and find out.
That is incredible. First of all, that you did it, but also it's funny because you probably go to the soldiers and maybe assuming, I assume so, that I'm going to be going to give them strength, right? But really, I left there and I was like, oh my God, I don't know how they have so much strength to continue living after what they went through, after what they saw, after their mental and physical state. And they are out there fighting because that's what we do as Israelis and as Jews. We're passionate about life. We'll do anything to succeed.
That's what Yair Jab says.
Enormous amount of resilience. And therefore, thank you to all of those that came to Israel, that support Israel.
Keep coming.
But I would love for also those that are not the haters, forget the haters, but those that are on the fence.
I'm not going to share my food with you. Don't come if you're a hater.
But those that don't know what's happening here and have never been here before.
You're not sure.
Definitely come.
You thought about coming before. I have childhood friends that had plans to come in October, and unfortunately they were canceled, but they haven't yet rebooked. And I'm like, you need to come. And the thing is, so like another shout out to Yair Jab he's been working with a lot of the wounded soldiers. And even when I was down in the kibbutzim in the south and talking to a lot of the people that have lived through it, I almost feel selfish because I feel stronger after meeting them and talking to them. And I was like, but I came down here to be supportive of you.
Right.
But I feel like, and it's funny, like, wait, tell me more about why you're here. And I was like, no, I'm really not that interesting. I want to know about you. But I don't want to know about that day.
Right.
I'm not asking you about that day because that's a day. And it's how you react to what happened to you moving forward. And I think, again, that is what Israel encompasses. Okay. We may have bent, like the Weeble Wobble things. Okay.
Like the Sears Tower in Chicago. Yeah.
But we didn't break.
Exactly. You can't break us.
Exactly.
That's the message.
Chazak, Sabra, whatever words you want to use. Israel, I swear to God, guys, like, you said this because we were talking about how people are just better looking here. Yeah. And I'm like, I feel like I even look better when I'm here. And I will say that even if you come and you're like, wow, this was like really meaningful, but I'm going to go home, but I'll come back, right? For visits or whatever. Okay. That's fine. But there's also that chance that you come here and you're like, whoa. And I think I felt maybe part of that when I first came as a teenager, and I wasn't maybe mature enough to understand that I had some, like, just, I didn't know how to get back or why, or like, I didn't know. But I've been doing all these other steps. And, for the last few years, I've just made such a point to be here to try to help bring people's stories so that people can meet the people of Israel, whether they're Arab, Christian, Jewish, Druze. One of my favorite people that's been on the podcast is Mansour Ashgar, and he is an Israeli Druze. And his mom, hi, Mom, shalom, Mom. She lives in Eilat, and she's always doing the vine leaves. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I wanted to go down, and they're going to be starting like a whole cooking thing. He puts up videos of his mom, and people are like, like, she's like a freaking celebrity.
This is amazing.
And by the way, she's all covered up.
Right.
They're Druze. And I got to learn his family story, and it was amazing. And he is an amazing advocate for Israel. He is not Jewish, just saying. Okay.
But that's the beauty, and especially since 7th of October, people like you telling the stories and amplifying the unity. I'll take it as an analogy of like a olive tree, right? With deep, perfect. Right, with deep roots in the ground. That's what we are like. Yeah. And on October 7th, someone came and cut one of our branches, and it was tough and it hurt. But after cutting that branch, what happens, because we have such strong roots, it actually created more and more fresh branches. And that's what I see here, despite everything, despite all the really heartbroken stories, and we still have our hostages.
And we have not forgotten 115 souls. Exactly. And yesterday was 10 months.
Yesterday was 10 months.
And by the way, look at what you said.
I know. But to see people like you and everyone around the world, and the unity also within here in Israel, is exactly that. Right. That's like the olive tree. Yeah. And we're going to continue growing with our strong roots outwards. So that is my hope, and
and you know what?
really
Speaking
love
of
what you're
olive
doing.
trees, one of the things that you guys could do on a tour with Yair.
Oh yes, we have a group that's doing that in October. God willing.
Well, in Sipori, my friend Ayala has a family-owned olive orchard, and she makes some like insanely out of control olive oil. And her property borders right next to Jonah Winery. Hi, Gal. And of course, at Jonah Winery, Gal was one of the first people I met, who then introduced me to Avner and his winery, who introduced me to his friends with the horse farm and coffee carts.
That's how you build connections in Israel.
You just literally come and talk to people. I went to Dizengoff Square last night because they were doing like lighting candles for the 10 months, and I just started talking to people, and it's so funny. Like in Israel, like you're like slicha, and then of course I'm like, midber Anglit or midberet Anglit, like, because I want to make sure that I'm having a good conversation, and I understand, but I don't speak well, and I admit that. Part of the problem is all of you Israelis, because you're like, oh, I speak English. And I was like, no, but I need to. And then I'm like, all right, you know what? It's going to be easier. Yeah. And that's bad. See, that I'm not Israeli enough yet because I give into what's easier, which is speaking English. But it was so interesting to meet all these people. And it was just like, oh my God, wait, but you know who you should meet? And they call to the person over there. Or if they're not there, they're like, oh my God. And they get their phone and they're like messaging the person. You need to meet this person.
That's what we're about.
And, like I was sitting with Hillel at Biga Cafe and on a day, and that's an Eitan Shatayat walked by, and I was able to grab him because I had been emailing him. But, listen, people are busy and doing a lot of things. And then, on so many other people that I've met, like I can't even go through and like list because there's just too many. But also, there was kind of a recent, like a little bit of a political announcement, someone might say. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, someone's coming. I can tell someone's coming because there's some security people, right? I mean, listen, security is everywhere in Israel, but like when, there are
like some politicians that sit there in Biga. I know them.
Right. Yeah. Here's the thing. Like when you see them, you're like,
someone's coming.
So I'm like,
interesting.
Right. And so Mr. Hillel Fold, who knew, I mean, he did tell me, like, he didn't like mess with me and make me like try to figure it out. Yeah. But Naftali Bennett walks in and I was like, hello. And I got to meet him.
No?
Well, how was getting there?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Because his Naftali Bennett's guys were there from the beginning when we were there. In fact, if they're watching, which they might be. Yeah. Though one of you was really freaking me out because I felt like you were looking through me. Oh, one of them was scaring me and the other one didn't.
Really?
No, I was equally afraid of both of you. Let me rephrase that. You were very, very professional. But so Naftali Bennett walks in and he and Hillel know each other. And so I actually got to meet him and say hello. And the thing is, like, this is not me affiliating with any sort of political party because I worked for the Israeli government. When I worked for the government, Barak was in power. Ehud Barak was in power. So for me, it's like, it's very humbling and very exciting for me to meet someone who has been a prime minister or is involved in, because it's what's going on, right? It's a piece of like what's actually going on. So I got to meet him, and of course, I was introduced as like, oh, this is Anya Farber. She has the podcast Zionist AF. You really should be on her podcast. And he goes, it would be my pleasure. And I'm actually in works to set that up virtually, because I mean. I understand. I work for the government and I've been in and out of government buildings, but I think it's probably just best if we do it virtually.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But so he is talking, and then I see two other security people like lingering, and I'm like,
someone else.
Something else is about to happen.
It's Israel. It's all a small community.
Like you said, Lisa comes in. Yeah. And I just have to say this for the record. Israel is the craziest place because like you don't have to. By the way, kudos on a Hawaiian shirt. My son is going to really appreciate that. So or Georgie, you could really dress almost like any way. I mean, obviously you need to cover and men and women in certain areas to be respectful of people's rituals and practices, but you could be super casual. But also I find it fascinating that Israeli men are just almost always in jeans. And I was like, jeans are not the breathable fabric. Like, what is up with that?
I'm actually not wearing jeans today, but I
don't understand how you men are committed to that. I don't get it. But like,
because we're
Lieberman rolls up in a full-on suit.
I know.
And I was like, how is he not sweating?
Yeah.
I was in I was in a really great outfit, by the way, from a boutique here in Jerusalem,
Okay.
from Efrat Boutique, from my lovely, gorgeous, stunning friend, and she's right around the corner from here, and I think it may be Hillel Street, but I have to look it up. But I will put it up there because I looked super cool. It was a great outfit. So I had my Zionist AF
Nice.
tank top on, but I had this like it was a no sleeves. Your wife would understand this more than talking to a guy about this kind of thing. But it was like dress shorts, like a very it was a very nice like it was a summer suit,
Right.
and I was sweating.
It's
and
hot.
he's in a
It's hot.
full on dark colored suit.
Listen, he's
But-
Jewish. He controls the weather. No, so
Okay.
it looks like he was fine. Within his, yeah. I'm sure.
Those two other guys were really just like low key fanning him. No, I don't. But I have to say, like, I was like, wow, man, because he did not look like he was perspiring at all. So, Lieberman, like, if for no other reason, if you could just come onto the podcast,
Just for that.
maybe after,
teach some
just
tips.
talk about how to
deal with
roll
summer in
up
Israel.
in a suit in the heat
Insane.
of like July, because it was still July, and I don't understand it. Like, ani lo mebina. I don't.
I think it's the weather here kind of correlates with the people. It's very hot.
Yes.
And we're very
Fiery.
warm and fiery.
And I like that.
And that's what we like here. So
yeah. So guys, listen, there's so much, like, I really want them to come and experience not just all the amazing, like, things that you already have set for people. And they can find lists of that and with all the contact information when they look at the attachment part of the podcast. It's not just that. Gum. Just eat
do
it.
your own shtick. Be free. Just come here. Have an authentic experience.
Oh my God,
here.
just go to like Machne Yehuda at night.
Exactly.
Like first go on a Friday morning where you're like
and enjoy and see different varieties of things and people and places. You'll be blown away.
Yeah, go float in the Dead Sea. Oh, and also when you come, there are a lot of families that are still unable to be in their actual homes. Yeah. So they're still staying in hotels. So if you're looking for a list of hotels that's also housing families, I've been starting to acquire, like when I find out about another property, I keep a list because for me, it's super important to stay at those places. I mean, obviously I don't want to take a room from the family, but if
to be with them, capacity.
But I also want to support that hotel because look, not for nothing, this is the height of tourism time. Yeah. Well, without the war, and the government is paying for rooms and stuff, but they're not paying like the prices that the hotel normally gets.
Of course. It's
if
amazing.
you really want to like support the economy, come here.
Yeah.
And if you
hopefully by the time you come here, though, the war will be over. We will already be done with it.
We're going to be fine anyway.
And these people will be going back to their homes. That's what we hope. Mm-hmm. But if not, then yes,
and if that's something that you want to learn about, like then please go ahead and reach out to me because I will tell you about all of the places that I know that have done that. Including some of the places that I discovered on this trip, which is so exciting when I discover something new. So like Vered Hagalil, we were talking about that. Hi, Gal. So it was funny because I was talking to them and I was like, Gal, oh wait. And then I was like, okay, you're Gal, my Gal. But he's not my Gal. He's like winery Gal. And then I was like, I don't know. Is it Gal 1 and Gal 2? And I was like, I don't know. But like, yeah, you have to like, there's certain names here in Israel that you'll hear again and again and again. And there are certain names that could be both a male or a female, which is also, you're just like, wait a minute. So I have to put all these notes in my phone because you can't just have someone's first name. I mean, my name I feel like is pretty safe, though I've met Anya's here.
Yeah.
Most of them are either Ukrainian or Russian immigrants, and I do not speak Russian. I'm sorry.
Not yet.
No. No. Let me work on like becoming truly bilingual with Hebrew first. Okay.
You're almost there. Just a few more days. And you're there.
Maybe. Yeah. I'll work on that like later. But please come. Like, can I just tell you? Not only, by the way, the Vered Hagalil is literally this hidden gem that should not be a hidden gem. It should just be like a gem that everyone knows about.
There's just so many of them.
Family. So I got to learn about the family that built the place because the daughter still lives on the property.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And like the warmest people, I mean, all of Israel's pretty warm, but oh my God. And then I looked from the room. What do you think was my view? I mean, And it's just this gorgeous body of water.
Beautiful. Yeah.
With historic value, and also some religious, and both during the daytime, the view, insane.
Yeah.
But then at night, I sat out and watched as the lights came on around.
I love that area. It's beautiful. That whole region is just incredible.
And I just heard nature,
culture, history,
stars,
everything. It's amazing, guys. Gotta
not
come.
knocking the cities.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
come hang out in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv.
What's
Haifa.
nice is that we're a small country. We have so much to offer. In a country as small as
you could
New
travel
Jersey,
20 minutes and it's like
you have all
world.
of America. You got the forests, you got the beaches, you got the
yes,
desert.
there are forests here.
You got even some ski lifts and mountains with snow up in the Hermon. You have lakes,
which I still think
everything.
is funny.
Yeah,
because it's so freaking hot. Oh, and then people were like, "Oh, you're gonna be in Jerusalem today? At least you won't have the humidity and it'd be hot." And I'm like, it's really hot.
It's really hot.
I'm sorry. And I don't believe in that whole dry heat. Sorry, Dad. My dad's always like, "Oh my God, Arizona's the best. It's dry heat."
Oh man.
No, I'm sorry. Hot is hot.
Yeah, hot is hot. That's true.
But I do love the Dead Sea even at this time of year.
Oh,
and people think I'm absolutely nuts because it's so hot. I'm like, and I did drag my son up the snake trail, and we hiked Mitzada.
Wow.
Because when I was here last, it was actually so hot last summer they closed.
Oh
Mitzada.
yeah. Certain times,
it happens. So I was told several times a year there are these days where it's just some absurd. And again, I'm not going to get into the Fahrenheit versus Celsius because Georgie on my last podcast already explained to the listeners why anyone who doesn't use the metric system it's just absurd.
Yeah.
But that's, if you want to laugh, you can watch that podcast. But I was just so ready for that hike. I was so disappointed because
you gotta go early. Masada, go early.
No, but you have to go at sunrise.
And in the summer for sure.
Oh my God. Yeah. But
in the winter you can go anytime.
You can take the
cable car.
The cable car.
It opens at 8, yeah.
By the way, also, whoa.
Yeah. Insane. And
I don't remember the cable car when I did this as a teenager. I'm pretty sure we hiked up and hiked down.
So much. You could be here for months. You don't get bored.
No. And I always am baffled why, and I'm very jealous of what you do because I feel like you have the best of both worlds because you're here and you get to constantly experience all these things that some Israelis don't take advantage of. Right. And I'm like, but it's right. But it's so far. I'm like,
during COVID, it's really started appreciating it. And also now during the war, we're traveling, we're seeing, it's not just for tourists, but it's beautiful.
No.
It's really beautiful.
And also that's a cultural experience in and of itself to stay in a hotel full of Israelis.
Exactly.
Enough said.
Anya, thank you. Thank you so much.
Please come. All of your information is going to be here. It's a pleasure to meet you personally and also to be able to share all the amazing things. Do not be afraid. This place is amazing. I do not ever want to leave. I cannot wait till I get to say I'm coming home. Or I'm home.
Returning home.
Officially. Yes, returning.
Beautiful. Am Yisrael Chai.
Am Yisrael Chai. Lehitraot Chaverim. We will see you soon.
Peace.